Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. With the 2019 presidential election just a few weeks away, the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, launched its Presidential Campaign Council last week, but not without controversy. Nigerians wondered why the presidency, which announced the makeup of the council, included the names of businessmen who should have been non-partisan. Well, questions were also raised as to why the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was given a subsidiary role on the council to a leader of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, many have also queried what the council is meant to achieve, given that the party already had a presidential campaign organization in place. Joining us from our Abuja studios to take a look at the commencement of the APC presidential campaign and what to expect with the establishment of the Presidential Campaign Council is the Director for Strategic Communications for the Buhari Presidential Campaign Organization, Mr. Festus Keyamo. Welcome to the Morning Show, Mr. Keyamo. Happy New Year. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me, and Happy New Year too.
Thank you. So let's begin by asking you about the Presidential Campaign Council that was launched last week. A lot of controversy. Members of the public were wondering what the PCC was set up to achieve, given that the Buhari Campaign Organization, with you, who is the Director for Strategic Communications, isn't this a duplication of roles to accommodate perhaps leaders of the party, such as Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his acolytes? I mean, what does this council seek to achieve?
Well, this type of arrangement is not strange for those who have followed, electioneering history. It's comparable to how you run a company. You have, for example, the members of a company who are the shareholders of a company. They are not there on a day-to-day basis to see to the day-to-day running of the company, but they only meet once in a while to get report from the board of directors as to how they are running the company on a day-to-day basis. Now, that is how this campaign is structured. You have the Buhari Campaign Organization, the directors like myself, like Babatunde Fashola and SAN, and some other directors, with me, who will be, on a, monitoring the campaign and running the campaign and the headquarters on a day-to-day basis. Of course, headed by the Director General, the Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi. They are responsible. We are responsible for the day-to-day running of the organization, of the campaign organization. But then you have a campaign council, like I said, responsible for the general policy direction of the campaign, and they may meet once or twice throughout the campaign to tell us who are on the ground as to what should be done. So it's nothing strange at all. The campaign council is just for general policy direction and all of that. And then, of course, the directors, the campaign organization will be on the ground to run things on a day-to-day basis.
All right. Also, Tinubu was made the co-chairman of the council over above the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Why was this the case?
I don't think anybody should be concerned about how we structure our campaign. Campaign is different from governance. So everybody should face their business. The PDP should face their business. We should face our business. Campaigns are just about how effective we want the campaigns to be run and how we want to organize this politically. It's different from governance. There's absolutely no explanation for that. It's our own system, our own model. Like I keep saying, you know what I keep saying? Where is the political model or template in the world that says that somebody must be on top of somebody? There's no such template.
But Mr. Keyamo, this was not the assertion of the PDP. It was members of the public who were wondering why the vice president, would be given a subsidiary role lower than that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I have just told you, let's move on to some other questions. You asked it 1 million times, you are wasting your time. I've just told you it's a model we have decided to run, and nobody has a right to question it.
Well, another thing that has come up with members of the public, which generated a lot of reactions, especially on social media, was the names of the list of council members that was initially released, which included business moguls like Aliko Dangote and Femi Otedola, as members of a special advisory subcommittee to advise the president. Now, critics have said that there was a last-minute withdrawal of those names, and it sort of reflects a lack of direction on the part of the APC and its campaign organization. How was this faux pas committed?
There's no lack of direction there. The special advisor to the president has explained that. And I think at times, once these things are explained, we should just move on. That it was not supposed to be released along with the council. But, you know, all over the world, most presidents, they, you know, have some kind of advisory council from the, you know, business community. And that, of course, is what is in place. You know, the president consults the business community regularly, members of the business community regularly on policy direction and all of that. And, of course, it's not part of the campaign council, but it just happened to be, if you look at, you know, the subheads when it was released, they said it was a, you know, advisory committee, not part of the campaign council. Incidentally, by some, mix-up, it was released along with the campaign council. And the special advisor have explained that, and we've moved on from that.
But the perception was that you added these business moguls to give an impression that your government was doing so, was being backed by the business community.
Well, you have just talked about perception. I've just told you reality, and you are going back to perception. So this is the reality, and then, you know.
But quickly, Mr. Keyamo, we have seen one thing prominent with this particular administration has been that every time they release a list, there are always discrepancies, time and time again. Time and time again, this being the latest. We've seen lists being released, and every time the president releases this, either there are names of dead people in the list, or the names or the names are being flawed. This is the latest of them all. What is really going on?
Nothing is going on. I'll prefer to deal with specific cases. So don't just make loud statements and wide, you know, statements without specifics. You are talking about the list of board members released earlier, nothing more than that. And we said clearly that those lists were drawn up in 2016, released late 2017, more than a period of 1 year.
But shouldn't they have been verified before being released to the general public?
They changed the button in the office of the Secretary to the federal government. When the new, you know, Secretary of Federal Government came in, that list was already prepared by the old Secretary of Federal Government. And so you wouldn't expect that a list containing nearly 2,000 people, that they will now know exactly whether 3 or 4 people have died within a period of 1 year, 6 months or 7 months. It's very normal. People die every day. So it was not a list prepared today and released tomorrow. It is not that at the time they were preparing the list, people had died and they were actually putting their name.
Mr. Keyamo, but doesn't this just show the inconsistency?
Another people create. It's not correct. It's just that when the list was prepared, they were alive. When the list was released, they had died. It's as simple as that.
But some form of verification should have been done before they were released.
About it at all.
But some form of verification should have been done. I told
you that a new Secretary of Federal Government came out and they told release. The point that they didn't intend to change names again. This is why you want to change names. You review a list. You don't deliberately wake up everybody to say, are these people still alive? What kind of mentality is that? That you wake up everybody to find out whether somebody is still alive.
But at the end of the day, it was a shame to the federal government that they were publishing names of dead people, which was a little bit insensitive to the families of those people.
It is shame. It is not shame. It's a simple question of time lag. It is you using such strong words because you want to confuse the public. So don't be biased. Ask your questions and we answer them. Don't use such strong words when you are just a journalist.
Mr. Keyamo, we're just trying to get the facts out here to the public and an opportunity for you to clear the air.
I have just given you the facts and you are repeating it over and over again.
Let's move on.
I told you that the time it was prepared, it took a time lag of nearly 2 years. It's very simple. Will I wake up every morning to find out whether people are dead or alive before I release a list?
Okay, let's go to the flag off of your presidential campaigns. It kicked off in Akwa Ibom State. There were reports that your party had to transport people from all over the country to fill the stadium. And when that failed, party members...
How do you know that? Do you see that being transported?
Let me...
You are the one saying that. Why do you make such statements?
Mr. Keyamo, let me just finish my question, please.
Where did you see them? Where did you see them being transported? Where?
If you allow me,
clips of them.
I said...
So don't deceive members of the public. Show us the clips of people being transported. Show us.
Mr. Keyamo, let me land, and maybe you listen to me. I said it was alleged, it was reported. Now, it's your opportunity to clear the air if it was true or not. But my question...
I said it's a lie.
Okay, great. But a party member, your spokesperson to be precise in Lagos State, Joe Ibokwe, has been accused of doctoring pictures, which have been verified, to depict a full stadium. And we are wondering, is this all in a bid to conquer the South-South and Akwa Ibom State in particular?
I want you to play the clips of the actual live pictures shown when they were there and see whether it was filled up or not. The live pictures, it was carried live. It was not a situation where it was replayed. It was live. So when you, as a journalist, ask questions, you must have your own clips to show. So don't ask me. You are a television station. Bring your clips and show to the members of the public.
Mr. Keyamo, is this an attempt to conquer Akwa Ibom State? I asked you. Are you so desperate to get that state and the South-South?
There's no attempt. It was just a spontaneous, groundswell of support. Like I said, I keep saying, as journalists, I want you to play the clips.
How about the picture? How about the picture? How about the picture that was doctored?
Can you show pictures?
How about the picture that was doctored by?
Show pictures. Forget about what one person's posted. Show pictures.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to...
Let's move on. That
is what, you see, listen. Listen. As we go into the elections, I urge journalists to be unbiased, to stay on the fence, firmly on the fence, and not to tilt to one side. Some of these questions, they are subliminal. They get past the subliminal message that we doctor things, that the papers was not filled up, that we are running some kind of fake campaign. Don't pass those subliminal messages. Show clips and ask your questions. These questions you're asking, like you are saying that, we doctored pictures to show that stadium was filled up when the whole Nigeria was watching live pictures. What impression would the members of the public have about the kind of question you're asking?
All right, Mr. Keyamo, let's now move to some actual realities right now. The one that we can say for certain, the wife of the president was actually absent at the rally in Akwa Ibom State. Was this due to a vocal criticism of the president's style of governance and the party's structure? Because she was very active during the 2014-2015 rallies.
Well, she's just warming up to hit the road. She's forming her own support group, and I'm sure you have seen the list released this morning. Have you seen the list released this morning?
We're here to get that release. What's in the release?
We've not seen anything.
Okay, there's a release. Let me just tell you that there's a release this morning of a youth and women support group headed by the First Lady. And that youth and women support, a support group is an expanded group, more expansive than even the campaign council. It comprises of people across the country. And the First Lady is just, the wife of the president, is just warming up to hit the streets, to hit the road. And so just wait and see, her level of support. She's 100% ready, 100% in support of the campaign and her husband, and you will see her very soon, in the next few days.
Well, in 2015, President Muhammad Buhari separated his candidacy from a party's manifesto that made the rounds. Let us ask if the president this time around is committed to the promises in the next level document of the APC.
It is a corporate document, involving all stakeholders of the party and binding everybody. So the president is the head of the party, is the head of the campaign also. So whatever we release as campaign document also binds the president, and the president is committed to it.
All right. Now let's talk about the health of the president. In 2017 alone, the president spent not less than 150 days out of office on medical trips going into the elections. And with his age, are we likely to see an invigorated president on the campaign stump? And do you think that the Nigerians deserve an energetic, engaging, and visible and very interactive president, considering the myriad of challenges bedeviling this country at the moment?
Well, just like we all, fall sick once in a while. I'm sure you have been sick before. I've been sick before. And, we get well. Since the president came back more than a year ago, he has hit the ground running. He has been all over the world. He's been attending to his duties. I just think it's unnecessary to be going back to when somebody was sick some time ago, and keep repeating it over and over again. Sickness is not as a result of age. You should understand that. So when you put sickness together now side by side with age, it will appear that he was sick because he's over 70. It's not correct.
But the harsh reality,
the head of state who died at 50.
Mr. Keyamo, but the harsh reality is that the president is aging by the day.
Who died because they were... Hello?
Mr. Keyamo, as I was saying, I said that, but the harsh reality is that the president is aging by the day. There's
but let me tell you the harsh reality too. In Zimbabwe, the opposition leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, was much, much younger, was 60-something years, when Robert Mugabe was 90-something. And Tsvangirai was telling him to resign because he was old, that he would die soon. What happened? Tsvangirai died before him. Mugabe is still alive. Tsvangirai died nearly a year ago.
But that's
so
not...
Go into that. That is a matter of God and divinity. Don't go there.
That's not a good example to actually parallax this particular word. All right.
It's a good example because he was an opposition leader who thought that age was on his side and he was going to outlive Robert Mugabe. But Tsvangirai is dead now. So don't go there at all. It is God that owns life and health. We have seen presidents that died in this country at 50-something that they were old, they were sick. It's not because they were old. Don't go to areas that concern divinity and God.
All right, let's take a look at the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. How do you think that your party will perform in each of the zones during the presidential election? To be precise, how many of this zone is Buhari certain to win or lose?
Okay, so you want me to discuss demographics and politics?
Yes, we want you to. Yes, can you give us a breakdown? Because you've been very confident that this president will win.
This day newspaper.
Yes.
Let me start from This Day newspaper. This Day newspaper is your sister publication.
Yes.
So I want to take the battle from your own publication. 2 months ago, you did a projection. This Day did a projection. This Day did a projection 2 months ago. So let me take it from there to tell you that this election is won and lost already. This Day said they gave the entire Northwest to the president, to Buhari.
That's correct.
This Day gave the entire Northeast except Gombe and perhaps Adamawa to the president. This Day gave the South-South to Atiku, and they gave the Southeast to Atiku. Demographically, in terms of numbers of voting patterns, even these ones they have given all of them now. These regions they have given to the candidates now. In terms of numbers, shared numbers of voters, it means already that Atiku Abubakar has less than half of the votes of Buhari. Because the Northwest and the Northeast are substantial parts of the Northeast that this day gave to the president. We are talking of close to 30 million
but
votes.
Mr. Keyamo, you omitted the North Central and Southwest.
I'm coming there. I'm coming to Southwest now.
Okay, because you concluded.
In Warri, we say, why your blood is hot? Calm down. Why your blood is hot? That's what we talk for Warri. Calm down. Good. Now, Northwest has 19 million voters. Northeast has about 10-point-something million voters. So we are costing home already. If we say 50% of the voters turn out, we don't have 100% of the voters turn out. That is close to about 13, 14 million votes already in the bag. Now, the Southwest, the Northeast, the Southeast, and the South-South that they gave, that you gave, though we dispute it, that you give to Atiku, we have about 99 million votes there. So even if you have 100% turnout, which you are not going to have in the South-South and the Southeast, you are just meeting up the votes of the Northeast, and the Northwest. But if you have 50% turnout, and historically, the South-South and the Southeast, they have less turnout. They have 35% or 30% turnout of voters than the Northwest and the Northeast. The highest number of turnout at elections always comes from the Northwest and the Northeast. Now, if you have 35% turnout at the South and the Southeast, even assuming you are giving them 100%, which we dispute, because we have split the South to 2, you are still going to have about
Mr. Keyamo,
8 million votes, about 7-8 million votes for Atiku.
Mr. Keyamo, the Southeast and South
half of the votes already. Now, coming to the Southwest.
Yes, the South and the Southeast they've galvanized together to actually adopt Atiku Abubakar as their candidate.
Because of Peter Obi?
Yeah, because of Peter Obi.
No, those South came out to adopt him. When the South come out to adopt him, you mean in the Southeast, few people that gathered in one house? Few people that gathered in one house, the Southeast that adopted him? What are you saying? Few people that gathered in one house. Is that the Southeast? Is Kenneth Amani not from the Southeast, former Senate President?
No, the
senators like Hopu Zodima are not from the Southeast.
The stakes are higher.
No, I want to. Is Oji Kalu, former governor, not from the Southeast?
The stakes.
Who are these folks supporting?
The stakes seem
We're
higher.
talking of former senators, present senators, former Senate president. Are they not from the Southeast?
Mr. Keyamo.
Who are they supporting?
Well, Mr. Keyamo, the stakes
Now,
seems
let's come
higher
to the
because
Southwest.
of the candidacy of Governor Peter Obi as the running mate to Atiku Abubakar. And so the Southeast and
But does
the
Peter Obi control his own state? Does Peter Obi control his own state? His own state is an APGA state. He cannot even deliver his own state.
You also cannot throw away
you are
the
not allowed
zoning.
me finish my analysis, so
You
are dragging me all over the place. Now. You have not allowed me finish
just
my
1 minute.
analysis.
If you allow me,
because
then you can continue.
I proceeded on the assumption that even Southeast is part of their forte. I proceeded on that assumption, and I told you that even on that, with that assumption, they even have half of the votes already of the president and vice president because of the voters in the Northeast and the Northwest. So even at that, even if you give them 100%, they still have half of the votes already of the president and vice. Now come to the Southwest. The Southwest is controlled 100% by the APC, the governors, in terms of the governors, 100%. You have 80% of the senators who are APC. 80% House of the Rep members who are APC.
But Mr. Keyamo, that's actually a fallacious statement. No, that's a fallacious statement for you to make such conjectures.
No, you asked a question. I'm not finished.
Yes, no, we had to. No, let me just chip in here. We had to, for you to make such conjectures because you quoted this day, so we have to actually set the record straight. That's a fallacy. What we saw play out in Osun State is a clear indication that APC do not control the Southwest. And also, looking at Ogun State, with the governors, with the governor of Ogun State actually decided to go for APM and not the APC. That's another battleground that has been lost.
I'm telling you, in Ogun State,
it's looking too close to call.
The governor campaigning for the president or not? Even the APN has adopted the president. So don't be biased in your views.
But it's too close to call.
The Southwest is not too close to call. The Southwest is on lockdown for the president. Take it or leave it. That's what I'm telling you.
No, but if you are quoting this day,
demography, that you have these structures on the ground, that the president has the 90% of the structures
Mr. Keyamo, if you are quoting this day,
lose the Southwest.
Please, if you are quoting this day, can you quote it correctly? Because this day actually said it is too close to call, and you are giving it to the South, to APC.
Too close to call. And I'm disputing that part of the analysis of this day.
You didn't mention that in your statement.
Part of the analysis of this day.
You didn't mention that.
This day gave the Northwest to the president. This day gave the Northeast to the president. Substantial part of the Northeast to the president. But they said the Southwest is too close to call. And I'm disputing that now with my own analysis.
All right. Okay, we wanted to separate both of them.
And
your analysis from this day.
With the performance of the president in the Southwest, the president for the first time in nearly 100 years has started one of the major rail lines in the Southwest, connecting two major towns in the Southwest, Lagos and Ibadan. Do you think that the Yoruba people are so dumb as to wake up to say that such a president who for the first time is bringing infrastructural development to the Southwest, they will not vote for him? For 16 years, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway was abandoned by all kinds of politics and all kinds of... And you think that the Southwest people are so dumb that they will wake up and they will not see this kind of development? For the first time in 16 years, after 16 years, PDP never for once said sorry about the annulment of June 12th, about the killing of their son in detention by the military, MK Abiola, and the president from nowhere, from the north. A Yoruba president was there for 8 years. He never said sorry for June 12th. He never addressed, he never even mentioned June 12th one day. Now, a man from Katsina State came up all of a sudden. He said sorry to the Abiola family, sorry to the Yoruba people, and he now said he gave the highest honors to 2 of their sons, which is Abiola and Ganifa, I mean my former boss. He gave the highest honors in the land to them, posthumous honors, and said June 12th will now be a public holiday. Do you think that the Yoruba people are so dumb as to wake up and not to vote for this man? Wait and see. February 16 is just around the corner.
But President Goodluck Jonathan actually commenced the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and after first revoking the contract to buy Courtney, and awarded it to Julius Berger.
For 16 years, did they do it?
But you did say that they did not. You said for 16 years. You did say for 16 years.
To finish just a stretch of road between Lagos and Ibadan. Did they do it?
They started it, Mr. Keyamo. It is pertinent to state the fact. You said for 16 years they didn't do the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
16 years, did they do it?
Well,
go and see how far we have gone now.
How far? But you didn't start it.
Redeemed up to the Shagamu Exchange is one of the best roads in the country now, and it is progressing.
Well, the president, let's move on to some other issues. Corruption is very big for your party. The president said some days ago that the fight against corruption was slow because of the system. Isn't that a sign of failure and buck passing on one of the 3 promises that he made to Nigerians?
It's not buck passing. It's just telling you the reality of the situation and the fact that they are doing what they should do to speed it up. He's just told you about the historical problem regarding the fight against corruption. Let me tell you the problem that we have on the ground. And I think it is time for you people to start to interrogate the main opposition. You people said, I mean, they keep saying that we should not be talking and giving excuses about the past. Nobody is giving excuses. Please, let it stop today, this kind of narrative that when we are referring to the past, we are giving excuses. It should stop today. Referring to the past does not mean giving excuses. It is the same PDP that said the narrative of their campaign and the tone of their the theme of their campaign is whether we are better off. If you are asking whether we are better off, how can I tell Nigerians we are better off without talking about the past? It's comparative analysis because you are asking whether we are better off. They keep telling you that we have never had it so bad economically. They keep telling you we've never had it so bad security-wise. So you want to tie my hands. They are talking about the past. They are talking about what is happening now and telling you that we have never had it so bad. But they now tie my hands and said I should not talk and compare what they did with what we are doing now. But it is unfair.
Mr. Keyamo,
but Mr. Let them talk and you don't want me to talk.
Mr. Keyamo, it's unfortunate.
I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example. In terms of economics, they keep telling you now that we have 87 million poor people in the country, and so we are the poverty capital in the world. We keep telling people that during their time, we had 112 million. Please, look at this. Zoom on this. I want to show Nigerians this. 112 million during their time. What is the difference? It's 87 million and 112 million. This was a publication of 2012. I want to ask Nigerians, 87 million and 112 million, which is greater? And tomorrow they will still come and tell you that we are worse off now in terms of poverty. I am showing you figures.
But Mr. Keyamo, this has been a recurring trend
of economic recession
throughout your administration.
Up to the point of voting, I will keep showing these publications every day to Nigerians because these people are shameless.
Mr. Keyamo,
because they will come back tomorrow.
If you would allow me to interject into this particular discussion.
Look at Okonjo-Iweala. Look at, this was in 2012. Okonjo-Iweala said Nigeria should brace up for economic recession. In other words, it was under PDP that recession was predicted and we started to slide down. This was their coordinating minister of the economy said,
Mr.
we
Keyamo,
should prepare for recession.
would you allow me to interject at this particular point in time?
To the television,
yes,
and shamelessly tell Nigerians that recession was Buhari caused recession.
Mr. Keyamo, would you allow me to interject?
They have nothing to campaign about again. I want you to ask them when they come back here, why did we have 112 million extremely poor people under your government, and you are shouting about 87 million? Both numbers are not good, I must admit.
Mr. Keyamo, now, can you allow me to interject here? When the APC was coming into government,
solution when under them extremely more poor people ballooned, and then they had more oil. They had more earnings there from oil. They had more production in terms of OPEC allocation from oil. So I want you journalists to ask them when you come down, how can you say 87 is greater than 112?
Wait, Mr. Keyamo, do I have your attention right now?
That they think that 87 is more than 112.
Do I have your attention, Mr. Keyamo? The point is this.
When they come again, ask them.
Yes, we will, certainly. We have been asking them all morning, as a matter of fact, as we just asked Mr. Aki Oshitoku this morning also. But the question is about what Nigerians have been saying about this particular narrative that you have been drawing out here, is that when the APC were campaigning, they said that they had all the answers to Nigeria's problems and that they could fix these key areas in terms of security, in terms of anti-corruption, and in terms of...
So listen to my answer.
Wait, I'm not done yet. But as soon as they came into power, it changed.
So listen to my answer now.
Wait, hold on. Let me just land. As soon as they came into power, things changed. The narrative also changed by the APC saying that they didn't envisage that the work on ground was this much, and later on they always blamed the PDP. From 2015 till now, they're still blaming the PDP for all that has happened. Even before the PDP started campaigning, APC has been blaming PDP for every single thing that has happened to Nigeria.
Well, the line was going on and off, but I assume that you're asking whether you are saying that we said we are going to come and solve the problems. We are not saying we have no solution to the problem. So
but why has the solutions not come in yet?
Negative narratives. I have said it earlier before I started this analysis that a reference to the past is not giving excuses that we don't have solutions. It's to tell Nigerians that we are better off in terms of progression and where we are moving towards. Now, I'll tell you about the solutions. Fighting poverty and curbing these problems is not like moving into a room like a Voltron. You move and say you arrest poverty and you keep poverty in the dustbin. These are problems that you must circulate quietly and arrest them at the end of the day. How are we circulating these problems? Let me tell you how the Buhari government is circulating these problems. One, how do you arrest poverty? First of all, you have to get the macroeconomics correctly. You have to address the building of critical infrastructure. You have to address power, the issue of power, first of all, so that you can now revive the macro, small, and medium-scale industries. That is one of the major tools around the world to clear out people who are unemployed. When artisans, tailors, welders are beginning to work optimally because there's power, you have a lot of people, having jobs. So now they are addressing the issue of power because, one, we have raised power from nearly 3,900 megawatts that they found to about 7,000 megawatts. The Mambila power that they left for 16 years, they could not address Mambila. Mambila is about to start again in January. Also, the issue of agriculture. Look at the issue of the fertilizers. Because of the very clever application of phosphates into the Nigerian system, where we can now produce our fertilizer. Fertilizer has dropped from 10,000 naira to about 6,000 or 5,000 naira now. So we are circulating the problem. Rice imports have dropped from Thailand from 644,000 to 23,000. 95% drop in the import of rice alone because of the Anchors Borers program. Now they want to expand the Anchors Borers program to other parts of agriculture. Now you can see that we are circling the problem. You see, when you have gone on the
but how about talk on security? How about security?
For a long time, when you are now turning back to go to the right road, it will appear as if you are slowing down because you have gone on the wrong route for a long time. When you want to negotiate the car to now go to the right route, it appears that you are slowing down, but actually you are getting your bearing correctly again. What the Buhari government is doing is it's not a bombastic government. We are just getting the bearings correctly again, and that is what they are doing. He's turning the focus away from a mono economy to an economy that is beyond oil. Now, I will refer you to This Day, your own publication again. Look at This Day, the praise they gave to the Buhari's government. This was headline of This Day. About a month ago. Aided by non-oil sector, GDP rises to 1.8%. This is the first time in history that the non-oil sector is adding so much to the GDP. This is This Day. It is, I'm quoting your own publication. This Day. That is how the economy is growing. That is how we are getting if this is right again. There's a slow but steady refocus of the economy to the fundamentals. We are not just going to be giving handouts again. For 16 years, there was no concentration on non-oil sector. For 16 years, there was no concentration on the building of critical infrastructure to reflect the economy. To put the economy back on the path of growth, you have to get the macroeconomics right, you have to get the critical infrastructure, you have to rebuild critical infrastructure, and then the microeconomics will begin to fall in place. The whole future of a nation, the growth of an economy does not depend on momentary rise in the price of rice and beans, and that is what they are using to deceive Nigeria. That's what they're using to deceive the ordinary people, that the price of rice and beans, price of rice and this. It is not the future and the economics of a nation and the progress of a nation does not boil down to the price of rice and beans within a period of 2 years. That is the kind of mentality they have. The momentary satisfaction of the people without talking about long-term positioning of the economy. And that is what the federal government and that's what the Buhari government had decided to do.
Mr. Keyamo, should we be celebrating such headlines, 1.8% GDP growth, when oil was selling for that year at about $60 per barrel and the population growth was about 3%? Should we be celebrating 1.8% GDP for an economy of almost 200 million people?
It is not, but it is an upward swing. It is not salutary, but it's an upward swing. For all the countries that went into recession, Nigeria is doing better than all those countries in terms of its GDP. Brazil is doing about 1%. Other countries, in fact, in Africa now, we are about the top 5 in terms of GDP because almost all countries slumped.
No, we are not.
Countries that dependent on oil slumped.
Mr. Keyamo, we are not top.
In terms of GDP,
we are not part of the top 5 in terms of GDP.
Can you give me the statistics?
We are not.
Do you know that South Africa, that is about the biggest economy, has gone into recession? Do you know that South Africa, that's about the biggest economy without Nigeria, has gone into recession?
We have the likes of Rwanda, Ethiopia, Rwanda, growing faster than Nigeria.
No, in terms of GDP, give me their GDP. Do you know that in terms of the ease of doing business, we have moved up 24 places? Are you aware of that? Are you aware that the World Bank predicted that it was going to take 3 years for us to come out of recession, but we came out of recession in less than in just about above 1 year? Are you aware of that?
In terms of ease of doing business, are you also aware that we dropped some spots in the latest rankings?
I want Nigerians to know that the World Bank came here in May, and the World Bank said they are excited about the growth of Nigeria.
Which is tepid.
The World Bank itself.
And the World Bank has also warned that we may...
the growth of Nigeria. They came to Nigeria.
They are excited with a warning. Don't forget that.
I'll give you.
Mr. Keyamo, the World Bank is excited with a warning.
I have decided that in run-up to the elections, we are not going to be talking English language. We are going to be talking real. Look at this publication. World Bank came to Nigeria in May this year, and they said Nigeria's growth excites World Bank. Look at it. They did not complain. I want you to zoom on this. They say Nigeria's growth excites World Bank because of the economic recovery and growth program that we are implementing, faithfully. That's it. Nigeria's growth excites World Bank.
That's just a headline. If you read the body of that story, Mr. Keyamo,
I have brought proof to you, proof.
If you read the body, that's just a headline, Mr. Keyamo. The World Bank and the IMF in 2018,
yes, the body. Let me read the body to you.
No,
Mr.
Keyamo. Mr. Keyamo.
Do you want me to read the body?
Do let me
because
finish
you're not
here.
behaving like opposition.
Do let me finish
you
here.
You are talking like opposition
it's
now.
Facts. It's facts,
I
Mr.
said you are
Keyamo.
talking
These
like
are the
opposition.
facts.
I'm sure you prove.
You have brought your facts. Let us also give you the facts.
You are disputing the proof.
Let us also give you the
your own
facts.
publication, this day publication.
That the World Bank and the IMF have also revised the GDP growth for Nigeria. They revised downward the GDP growth for Nigeria. The IMF has also said, you know, we need to reprioritize because education and health have not been given priorities in this country.
Where is your proof? I am showing you proof now.
But then,
you are talking without proof. I'm showing you proof. That the World Bank is excited about the economic recovery and growth program.
With a strong warning, Mr. Keyamo. Well, let's go back to politics. Ogun State in particular. Its president.
So after showing all, I just want to let Nigerians know that these people are so shameless that tomorrow they will still come and be parroting the same thing.
Which people are you referring to, Mr. Keyamo?
That they have said over and over in spite of hard proof.
Which
that
people?
We have shown the Nigerian people because they have nothing to campaign about again.
Which people are you referring to? Just for clarity, which people are you referring to?
I'm talking of the opposition. I'm talking about the opposition that you are reflecting their position now like the opposition.
There are about 90 opposition to the APC. Can you be specific?
I'm talking of the main opposition. The main opposition that brought us to where we are today, the PDP. They brought us to where we are today. And let me show you what their own central bank governor said. I'm talking of Saludo that served as a central bank governor under PDP. Let me tell you what he said. He said it was the PDP itself that brought us into recession. That is what he said himself.
But Mr. Keyamo, in all this, we knew all those problems going into 2015. Mr. Keyamo, all this is not.
Don't shut me up.
This is not news.
Because
we knew all this going into 2015.
Look at it.
It's.
Show the Nigerian people.
Yes, Nigerians are seeing it. We knew all this going into 2015. But the APC, Mr. Keyamo, the APC came on the band of the fact that they could change Nigeria's economy in 4 years. And you've actually given quite a number of instances, but this is not between. Okay, now, can you hear me clearly?
I'm not hearing you again.
I can hear you clearly. I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
I can't hear you.
Because, okay. Hello, can you hear me right now?
I can't hear you again.
Mr. Keyamo, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Mr. Keyamo, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, now, so the point is this. The APC came into government knowing with all these facts on the table.
I can't hear you again.
We'll just go for a quick break and we'll be right back.
You're still watching the Rise News, and this is the morning show. Still in our Abuja studios is the Director, Strategic Communications of the President Muhammadu Buhari's campaign organization, Mr. Festus Keyamo. Mr. Festus Keyamo, before we went on that break, I was trying to just buttress a point here. It seems you have just brought only headlines on only excerpts of papers that seems convenient for your own narrative, because I will actually throw you a ball here right now. On the 3rd of March, 2017, Mr. Saludo, you were referring to, said this about the president. He said that Buhari inherited a bad economy, but made it worse. That is what Mr. Saludo is saying. And like I was trying to establish to you, the APC, without a doubt, when they were coming in 2015, said they had the answers to Nigeria's problems. But after a while, they have been bug passing, shifting the blames. A lot of people have said they've been shifting the narrative and trying to just look for convenient ways. Can you hear me? Mr. Saludo,
yes, go ahead. It's going off and on, yes.
Now, did you hear my initial statement? I said that Mr. Saludo, on the 3rd of March 2017, said that Buhari inherited a bad...
It's going off and on.
Can you hear me right now? Is it...
I assume you are saying that...
The headlines you brought to our Abuja studio.
Yeah, you brought a headline which seemed very, very convenient for your own side of discussion.
It is when you are talking, when the guy is talking, I can't hear.
Okay,
so I can hear the lady talking.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Okay.
You seem to have brought excerpts of newspapers.
I can hear you.
Great. So you brought excerpts of newspaper publications that suit the narrative which you're pushing. We also have other headlines, you know. Professor Saludo, the central bank governor, which you referred to in one of those headlines you brought, also said that the President Muhammadu Buhari, March 3rd, 2017 to be precise, says President Muhammadu Buhari administration made the Nigerian economy worse.
Yes, let's talk about specifics now. I've always asked them how, they agree, first of all, that they plunged the country into recession. The country was headed for recession. So thank God we have arrived at that conclusion. I'm going to answer your question now. But as a lawyer, I'm telling you that we have arrived at a first conclusion that PDP should not come and tell Nigerians that they handed over a healthy economy. You agree, and I agree now, taking Saludo's own position, that the country was headed for disaster when the Buhari took over. Now, let's talk about specifics. What did Buhari do to make it worse? I'm asking you now, you ask me. Tell me in black and white, because you are an investigative journalist. Well, give me one or two. Let both of us talk about it.
Well, you brought a headline.
What steps did he take that made it worse?
Mr. Keyamo, if you can hear me, this is what Professor Saludo says. If you can hear me, this is what Professor Saludo said, and I quote, he said that the economy is not just in recession.
Yes.
We are suffering from a massive economic compression. Saying is recession trivializes the issue.
I can't hear
okay, probably she can read this particular one then.
I can't hear you.
Well, Mr. Keyamo, since you can hear me, the former Apex Bank governor said that the economy was suffering from massive economic compression, saying its recession trivializes the issue. It says that by the time, it will be a miracle if after 8 years, by the time the Buhari administration leaves office, that we'll be able to return the economy to, in dollar terms, to the exchange rate it met when he took over. It's a long article. And Mr. Keyamo, it's not just about reading articles. It's to say that, you know, you brought excerpts. No, Mr. Keyamo, you brought excerpts.
I want to talk, you must talk specifics.
We are not
you can see that it's loud in grammar, in clear language. What steps did he take?
We are not in a reading game, Mr. Festus Keyamo on the morning show here. You brought headlines to say otherwise.
Unfortunately, you can see that we cannot say anything.
And we have given you headlines to also say...
Without clearly going to the specifics. I'll give you an example. Let me help you.
Mr. Keyamo, hold on 1 minute.
Let me help you.
1 minute, Mr. Keyamo. It seems that you choose to take which, you know, suits your narrative other than the others. This is the same Professor Saludo's headline you read some minutes ago.
It's not suit narrative. I am showing you proof.
So are you saying Professor Saludo is wrong just because he said that the Buhari administration made it worse?
But I want to talk the specifics now.
It's a headline from March 3rd, 2017.
Let's discuss it.
It's a headline from March 3rd, 2017. But you cannot run away. You can't make a statement and run away. Let's talk about the specifics. It's not a statement by me. It's by Professor Saludo, which you also quoted. So
let me discuss the specific with you now.
Go ahead.
I'm telling you that you should tell me specifics. You refuse to tell me specifics, but I want to help you now.
Mr. Keyamo, I don't know if you can hear me now.
Hello?
Can you hear me right now? Can you hear me? If you can hear me right now, let me give you specifics here.
Hello?
Yes.
It's going on and off when you are talking. It goes on and off when you're talking.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Keyamo, you can check out that headline, and it's just a pointer to the fact that your excerpt seems to have chosen a particular narrative.
We have reached a conclusion.
We don't have much time. We don't have much time on the morning show,
Mr. Keyamo. The people who
Mr.
cause the problem, hold on. The people who cause the problem cannot be the solution to the problem. That is where, because we are in a race. I want to make it clear this morning that we are not the best in terms of global standards. I will look like a fool if I come here to say so. But we are running a race on comparative analysis. The main opposition that wants to take over, supplant the government, they are the ones, like we all agree with all the narratives now, they are the ones who cause the problem. So they cannot be the solution to the problem they caused. That's what we are saying.
Well, let's move on for want of time to other issues. Let's talk about politics now. In Ogun State, to be precise, is President Muhammadu Buhari confused about that situation, or is he just concerned about his own personal interest?
About what?
Ogun State. What is playing out in Ogun State in the APC? Huh? Can you hear me?
In Ogun State?
Yes.
It's a win-win situation for him in Ogun State.
Help us make sense of this. The president accepts an endorsement letter from
It's
APM.
a win-win situation for the president in Ogun State.
Help us make sense of all of this. The president seems to have accepted the endorsement by APM through an APC governor, and then days after, he also endorses the APC candidate. What exactly is this? Is this not political confusion?
For him, it's a win-win situation.
So is it?
Let's talk about his own election first.
Okay,
You have two parties that are working for him now. You have of the APC working for him. You have the APM working for him. So it's a win-win situation for him.
So he's not bothered about APC retaining Ogun State or losing it?
When we get to that point, we'll cross the river there. Because you know as well as I do that even those people who are saying they are APN, in blood and spirit, they are APC. And you know what will happen after, even if they win, you know what will happen in less than 1 month. So it's a win-win situation for him.
All right. At this point, we just have to draw the line. I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Festus Keyamo, for actually affording us and availing us this great opportunity to share with us what the president is planning to do if he returns back to office in 2019. All right. Remember, the 16th of February is the date where every Nigerian will be looking forward to casting their votes and making decisions known.